Strength is often misunderstood. Most people think the strongest person is the one who never gets hurt, never gets betrayed, and never feels disappointed. The truth is almost the complete opposite. The people who spend their lives trying to avoid emotional pain often become the easiest to control. All it takes is the fear of rejection, the fear of losing someone, or the fear of being judged, and suddenly their choices are no longer their own. They begin saying yes when they want to say no. They stay in places that drain them. They tolerate disrespect just to keep others happy. That is not strength. That is fear wearing the mask of peace. Real strength begins when pain no longer decides your actions. The most mentally powerful people are not protected from heartbreak, criticism, failure, or betrayal. They simply refuse to let those experiences define them. Every painful lesson becomes another layer of wisdom. Every disappointment teaches them where to place their trust. Every setback sharpens their judgment. This is why the strongest minds are not built in comfort. They are built in moments most people spend their lives trying to escape. The greatest mistake is believing that safety creates confidence. In reality, too much safety creates dependence. The more you avoid discomfort, the more power you give to the people and situations that can create it. Fear quietly becomes the invisible chain controlling your decisions. But once you accept that getting hurt is part of growth, those chains begin to break. Suddenly, rejection loses its power. Criticism becomes useful instead of painful. Betrayal becomes a lesson instead of a life sentence. At that point, controlling you becomes almost impossible, because your peace no longer depends on other people's behavior. That is the uncomfortable truth very few people are willing to face, and it is also the quality shared by people who are mentally unshakable. In this video, you will discover why emotional pain can become your greatest teacher, why avoiding it slowly makes you weaker, how betrayal changes the way successful people think, why resilience is far more powerful than comfort, and how developing the right mindset can make you calm under pressure and impossible to manipulate. Along the way, you will also learn several surprising psychological insights that most people never connect to everyday life, even though they shape nearly every decision they make. Stay with us until the very end, because the final lesson may completely change the way you look at pain, relationships, confidence, and personal power. It is a simple shift in thinking, but once you understand it, you will never see emotional setbacks the same way again. Welcome to the channel. If you enjoy deep ideas that help you build a stronger mind, take control of your life, and see the world from a different perspective, make sure to subscribe and join us for more videos like this. From the time we are children, we are quietly taught one lesson over and over again. Protect your heart at all costs. Stay away from people who might reject you. Stay away from situations where you could fail. Stay away from criticism because it hurts. Stay away from disappointment because it feels unbearable. This advice sounds wise on the surface, but hidden inside it is one of the biggest lies people ever accept. It teaches us that the goal of life is not to become stronger, but to become safer. Little by little, fear begins making decisions for us. Instead of speaking honestly, we stay silent because we do not want to upset anyone. Instead of chasing opportunities, we settle for what feels comfortable because failure seems too painful. Instead of expressing love, respect, or ambition, we hide behind caution. We convince ourselves that avoiding emotional pain is the same as protecting our peace. In reality, we are not protecting our peace, we are protecting our fears. Every time fear wins, our world becomes a little smaller. We meet fewer people, we take fewer chances, we trust less, we dream less, we slowly build a life that feels safe from the outside, but empty on the inside. The greatest opportunities often come with the greatest risks. Every meaningful friendship carries the possibility of betrayal. Every relationship carries the possibility of heartbreak. Every goal carries the possibility of failure. Every dream carries the possibility of criticism. If you remove every chance of getting hurt, you also remove every chance of becoming stronger. Growth has always demanded discomfort. No person has ever developed courage without facing fear. No person has ever developed wisdom without making mistakes. No person has ever learned healthy boundaries without first seeing what happens when boundaries are ignored. Pain is not the enemy most people believe it is. The real danger is living in a way that never challenges your comfort, because comfort slowly becomes a prison. It feels warm, familiar, and predictable, but it quietly limits everything you are capable of becoming. Many people spend years protecting themselves from emotional pain, only to discover they have also protected themselves from confidence, freedom, and genuine happiness. The safest life often becomes the smallest life, because every important experience requires a willingness to risk disappointment. The real problem is not pain. The real problem is our relationship with pain. Most people treat pain as proof that something has gone wrong. They believe emotional suffering should never happen, so when it arrives, they panic. They blame themselves, they blame others, they try to escape as quickly as possible. But pain is often information. It reveals what we ignored, what we believed without questioning, and what needs to change. The lesson is uncomfortable, but it is valuable. Those who learn from it move forward. Those who run from it repeat the same patterns again and again. Nothing reveals this truth more clearly than betrayal. Few experiences cut as deeply as being hurt by someone you trusted. A stranger's opinion may sting for a moment, but betrayal from a close friend, a partner, a family member, or someone you believed would always stand beside you reaches much deeper. Trust is built over time. It is created through shared experiences, honest conversations, promises, and memories. When that trust is broken, it feels as though part of your understanding of the world has been shattered. The pain is not only about what the other person did, it is also about the story you believed. You believed they would protect you, support you, or stay loyal. When reality breaks that belief, your mind begins searching for answers. It questions every memory, it questions every decision, it even questions your own judgment. This is one reason betrayal feels so overwhelming. Your brain treats social rejection and broken trust as serious threats because human beings have always depended on strong relationships to survive. That is why emotional pain can feel just as real as physical pain. Your heart races, your thoughts refuse to slow down. You replay conversations over and over, searching for the exact moment everything changed. Sleep becomes difficult. Small reminders bring back powerful emotions. Even after the person is gone, the experience continues living inside your mind. It changes how you look at people. It changes what you expect from relationships. It changes how easily you trust again. At this point, two very different paths appear. Almost everyone experiences pain, but not everyone grows from it. The first path is the easier one because it asks for nothing except surrender. A person closes their heart and decides that trusting anyone is a mistake. They become suspicious of kindness because they assume every good intention hides a selfish motive. They expect disappointment before anyone has even given them a reason to. They become defensive in every conversation. They react emotionally instead of thoughtfully. Small disagreements feel like personal attacks. Honest feedback sounds like rejection. Every new relationship is judged through the pain of the last one. Without realizing it, they allow one painful experience to control every future experience. They believe they are protecting themselves, but fear has quietly taken control of their life. Their walls become so high that they not only keep pain out, they also keep love, opportunity, and genuine connection out. The heart that refuses to be hurt also refuses to fully live. They become trapped in constant self-protection. Every decision is made through the question, "What if I get hurt again?" Over time, that question becomes stronger than their curiosity, stronger than their hope, and stronger than their courage. The second path is much harder because it requires honesty. Instead of asking why life is unfair, this person asks what the experience is trying to teach them. They accept the pain without allowing it to define their identity. They do not pretend the betrayal never happened. They do not excuse bad behavior. They simply refuse to let someone else's actions decide the person they will become. They begin paying closer attention to patterns instead of promises. They learn that words are easy, but consistent actions reveal true character. They stop ignoring warning signs because they want to believe the best in everyone. They build standards instead of unrealistic expectations. Standards protect peace without creating unnecessary fear. Expectations demand that people behave exactly the way we want. Standards simply decide what behavior we are willing to accept. This small change transforms relationships. Instead of chasing approval, they become comfortable with respect. Instead of needing everyone to like them, they focus on surrounding themselves with people who earn their trust over time. They become more patient when meeting new people. They observe more, they react less. Emotional control slowly replaces emotional chaos. They realize that confidence is not about believing nobody will ever disappoint them. Confidence is believing they can handle disappointment without losing themselves. One of the biggest changes happens inside their own mind. They stop seeking validation from people who have never truly understood their worth. This is where many people struggle. They continue trying to win the approval of those who ignored them, rejected them, or underestimated them. They believe acceptance from those people will finally heal their pain. It rarely does. Approval from others is temporary because it depends on their opinions, their emotions, and their changing expectations. Emotional independence begins when your self-worth no longer depends on someone else's approval. That does not mean becoming cold or refusing relationships. It means knowing your value even when others fail to recognize it. It means respecting yourself enough to walk away from situations that constantly damage your peace. It means understanding that not every person is meant to stay in your life forever. Some people arrive to support your growth, others arrive to teach difficult lessons. Both have value if you are willing to learn. This is why mentally dangerous people do not fear disappointment in the same way most people do. They know disappointment is unavoidable. They understand that loyalty cannot be forced. They know promises are meaningful only when they are matched by actions. Because they accept these realities, they stop wasting energy trying to control other people. Instead, they focus on controlling their own responses. They understand they cannot stop someone from lying, leaving, changing, or betraying them. What they can control is how quickly they recover, how clearly they think, and whether they carry that pain into every future relationship. This gives them a quiet confidence that others often mistake for emotional distance. The truth is different. They still care deeply. They still build meaningful relationships. They simply refuse to make another person responsible for their emotional stability. If someone chooses to leave, they let them leave. If someone proves untrustworthy, they believe the evidence instead of arguing with reality. If someone repeatedly crosses their boundaries, they walk away without feeling guilty for protecting their peace. They no longer chase people who constantly pull away. They no longer beg for respect that should have been given freely. They understand that every moment spent forcing a connection is a moment stolen from building a better life. That quiet willingness to let go is one of the greatest forms of personal strength, because real power begins when your peace no longer depends on someone else's behavior. The moment you stop trying to remove every chance of emotional pain from your life, everything begins to change. Most people spend years creating a life that feels safe. They avoid difficult conversations because they fear rejection. They hide their ideas because they fear criticism. They stay away from meaningful relationships because they fear heartbreak. They refuse opportunities because they fear failure. At first, this way of living seems peaceful. There are fewer risks, fewer disappointments, and fewer uncomfortable moments, but there is also less growth. A life without emotional risk is usually a life without meaningful progress. Every opportunity that can improve your future asks for something in return. Love asks you to risk heartbreak. Friendship asks you to risk disappointment. Starting a business asks you to risk failure. Becoming a leader asks you to risk criticism. Chasing success asks you to risk being misunderstood by people who refuse to understand your vision. None of these experiences come with guarantees. There is always the possibility that things will not work out the way you hoped. That uncertainty is not a flaw in life, it is part of life. The people who achieve the most are not the people who somehow avoid disappointment. They are the people who decide that disappointment is a price worth paying. They know that failure may happen, but regret is often much heavier than failure. Failure teaches. Regret only reminds you of chances you never took. Every meaningful step forward requires the courage to face outcomes you cannot fully control. That is why courage is so often misunderstood. Many people think courage means feeling fearless. It does not. Courage exists only because fear exists. If there were no fear, courage would not be necessary. Courage is making the phone call even though your hands are shaking. Courage is applying for the opportunity even though rejection is possible. Courage is speaking the truth even though people may disagree with you. Courage is trusting again after someone has broken your trust, not because you believe everyone is good, but because you refuse to let one painful experience steal your ability to build healthy relationships. Fear may still be present, but it is no longer in charge. That is the difference. Fear becomes a passenger instead of the driver. Many people wait for fear to disappear before they act. They tell themselves they will take action when they feel more confident, more prepared, or more certain. That day rarely arrives. Confidence is not created before action. Confidence grows because of action. Every challenge you face and survive sends your mind a powerful message. You are stronger than you thought. Every difficult conversation proves you can handle discomfort. Every failure proves you can recover. Every disappointment proves your life continues even when things do not go according to plan. Slowly, fear loses its control because experience replaces imagination. Before taking action, your mind invents endless worst-case scenarios. After taking action, you finally see reality. Sometimes things go well, sometimes they do not. Either way, you gain knowledge that fear could never give you. This is why avoiding emotional pain also means avoiding emotional growth. The lessons you need most are usually waiting on the other side of discomfort. One of the greatest gifts hidden inside painful experiences is better judgment. Before being hurt, many people believe words without looking closely at actions. They assume everyone has good intentions simply because they want that to be true. They ignore warning signs because hope feels more comfortable than honesty. Then life teaches them a difficult lesson. They begin noticing patterns instead of promises. They realize consistency matters more than charming speeches. They understand that trust should grow slowly instead of being handed over immediately. This does not make them cynical, it makes them wiser. They stop making decisions based only on emotions. They learn to observe patiently. They ask better questions. They become less impressed by appearances and more interested in character. Their judgment becomes sharper because experience has shown them what books alone never could. Pain also teaches the importance of healthy boundaries. Many people only learn this lesson after giving too much of themselves to the wrong people. They spend years trying to please everyone. They say yes when they want to say no. They sacrifice their time, energy, and peace because they fear disappointing others. Eventually, they become exhausted. Resentment quietly grows inside them. Then one painful experience forces them to realize that kindness without boundaries often becomes self-neglect. From that moment, they begin protecting their energy. They understand that saying no is sometimes an act of self-respect. They stop feeling guilty for walking away from toxic situations. They no longer believe that being available for everyone is a sign of goodness. They learn that healthy relationships respect limits instead of demanding endless sacrifice. Strong boundaries do not push good people away. They simply reveal who is only benefiting from your lack of boundaries. Emotional pain also develops emotional control, but not overnight. At first, hurt creates anger, sadness, confusion, and frustration. Those emotions are normal. The important question is what happens next. Some people allow those emotions to control every decision they make. Others slowly learn to pause before reacting. They begin recognizing that emotions are valuable signals, but poor leaders. Anger may reveal that a boundary has been crossed, but anger should not decide the response. Sadness may reveal that something meaningful has been lost, but sadness should not convince you that hope no longer exists. Emotional control does not mean pretending you feel nothing. It means feeling everything without allowing those feelings to control your behavior. This skill becomes one of the greatest advantages a person can develop because life constantly presents situations that test patience, wisdom, and self-control. The calmer you remain, the clearer you think. The clearer you think, the better your decisions become. Another lesson hidden inside emotional pain is a deeper understanding of people. Before difficult experiences, many individuals see the world in simple terms. They believe good people always behave well and bad people always behave badly. Life quickly proves that reality is far more complicated. Good people sometimes make selfish decisions, Honest people sometimes break promises. Confident people sometimes hide deep insecurity. Kind people sometimes carry invisible pain. As your understanding grows, you stop judging everyone through simple labels. You become more observant. You listen more carefully. You notice how people behave under pressure, instead of only noticing how they behave when everything is easy. You begin understanding motives, instead of only reacting to actions. This deeper awareness helps you build stronger relationships because your trust is based on reality instead of wishful thinking. Perhaps the greatest gift of all is confidence in yourself, not the loud confidence that demands attention, but the quiet confidence that remains steady during difficult moments. Every painful experience you survive becomes evidence that you are more capable than you once believed. You remember the heartbreak you thought would destroy you, yet you continued moving forward. You remember the rejection that once felt unbearable, yet life continued. You remember the betrayal that left you questioning everything, yet you rebuilt yourself piece by piece. Those memories become proof that you can survive future challenges as well. Confidence is not believing bad things will never happen again. Confidence is believing you can handle whatever happens next. That belief cannot be borrowed from motivational speeches or encouraging words. It is earned through experience. Looking back, many people eventually realize that their greatest lessons arrived disguised as their greatest disappointments. Every betrayal charged a painful price, but it also delivered knowledge that would have been impossible to gain any other way. It taught them who deserved access to their life and who did not. It taught them how easily blind trust can become dangerous. It taught them the value of patience before commitment. In many ways, every betrayal became expensive tuition. The cost was high, the pain was real, but the education changed the way they lived forever. The lesson often became far more valuable than what they lost, because what they gained could never again be taken away. At the same time, there is an important difference that many people fail to understand. Becoming stronger does not mean becoming emotionally cold. These two paths may look similar from the outside, but they lead to completely different lives. A cold person stops caring because caring once caused pain. A strong person continues caring because kindness remains part of their character. A cold person refuses to trust anyone. A strong person trusts wisely, allowing trust to grow through consistent actions instead of empty promises. A cold person builds walls so high that nobody can enter. A strong person builds healthy gates. The right people are welcomed inside. The wrong people are calmly turned away. That difference changes everything. Strength protects your peace without destroying your ability to connect with others. Strong people also understand forgiveness in a different way. They know forgiveness does not always require another chance. Forgiving someone means refusing to carry endless anger inside yourself. It does not mean forgetting what happened or pretending the behavior was acceptable. They forgive because they value their own peace, but they also remember the lesson because they value their own future. They can release resentment while still protecting themselves from repeated harm. This balance allows them to move forward without becoming trapped by bitterness. They refuse to let yesterday's pain become tomorrow's identity. The same balance appears in the way they love. They care deeply, but they do not become emotionally dependent on another person for their happiness. They understand that healthy love grows between two complete individuals, not two people desperately trying to fill each other's emptiness. They support others without losing themselves. They stay loyal without accepting disrespect. They remain generous without allowing constant exploitation. They continue treating people with kindness because kindness reflects their values, not because they expect everyone to return it. Their character is no longer controlled by someone else's behavior. Over time, this way of thinking creates a mindset that is incredibly difficult to manipulate. They expect setbacks because life has already shown them that nothing meaningful comes without obstacles. They accept that betrayal is always a possibility, but they refuse to live in constant suspicion. They learn quickly from every experience, instead of repeating the same mistake for years. They adapt instead of complaining that life is unfair. Most importantly, they never allow one person's actions to define the rest of their future. One dishonest friend does not convince them that everyone lies. One failed relationship does not convince them that love is impossible. One rejection does not convince them that they lack value. Their identity comes from within, not from the changing opinions and actions of others. Once your self-worth grows from your own principles instead of outside approval, people lose the ability to control your emotions so easily because the foundation of your confidence is no longer placed in their hands. Everything comes back to one simple truth. Life will never promise that you will be treated fairly. People will disappoint you. Some will leave without explanation. Some will break promises they once made with confidence. Others will underestimate you, criticize you, or betray your trust. No amount of planning can completely prevent those moments from happening. The question is not whether pain will enter your life. The real question is what that pain will turn you into. Will it make you fearful, bitter, and closed off from the world? Or will it make you wiser, calmer, and stronger than you were before? That choice belongs to you every single time. The people who seem mentally unshakable are not special because they have lived easy lives. They have simply learned a lesson that many never understand. They stopped expecting life to be free from pain, and they stopped allowing pain to control their future. Every setback became a lesson. Every betrayal became a warning. Every disappointment became another step toward emotional freedom. They realized that strength is not built by avoiding difficult experiences. It is built by facing them, learning from them, and refusing to let them steal their peace. Your greatest power does not come from making sure nobody ever hurts you. That is impossible. Your greatest power comes from knowing that even if someone does hurt you, you will recover, you will learn, you will adapt, you will keep moving forward. Once you truly believe that, fear begins to lose its grip. You stop chasing approval from people who never valued you. You stop begging others to stay. You stop sacrificing your self-respect just to avoid being alone. Instead, you begin living with quiet confidence because your happiness no longer depends on someone else's choices. Never forget this. The goal is not to stop getting hurt. The goal is to stop being destroyed by it. The strongest people are not protected from pain. They are transformed by it. Every difficult experience gives you a chance to become a stronger version of yourself if you are willing to accept the lesson instead of carrying the wound forever. The day you stop fearing emotional pain is the day other people's actions stop controlling your life. And that's when you become truly dangerous, not to others, but to every obstacle standing in your way. If this video gave you a new way of looking at strength, resilience, and emotional freedom, take a moment to support the channel. Hit the like button, subscribe for more videos that help you build a stronger mind and a better life, and share this video with someone who needs to hear this message today. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.